these jeans, like where they're like hitting my stomach is like a weird spot. I feel like that's like a very girl thing. Like like
the high-waisted
the high-waisted is like a cute ass thing when you're standing.
Yeah.
But as soon as you sit, you're immediately like slouched because you like that or your whole stomach is being pierced.
Yeah, and for me, because my torso is so short, when I wear high-waisted jeans, it's like hits under my boob. And it's like like old men, you know, how they like pull their pants up super high. Like that is just high-waisted jeans on me, period.
Yeah. I like when I eat in high-waisted jeans, I have to unbutton the top button because it's just uncomfortable.
Of course.
And then when I stand up, half the time I forget to rebutton.
Yeah, no, I totally feel that. Let me spit my gum out.
I'm going to say it. Have sex with a Scorpio.
I could glute bridge your dad. I'm naked, hold on.
We will be flicking the beans to that.
But she's tatted and I take meth. Is somebody in your house right now?
But you know what? Fuck your ass.
Yeah, I had sex last night.
You can make your own money. You can literally have your own job of your dreams. You can own your own house. You can own your own car. You can pay all your fucking own bills. So what is that man? That man is sex and a best friend, and that's it.
I heard nothing but the truth. But yeah, no, I was actually having this conversation with my roommate this weekend, and we've talked about this concept before, but like the location of your butt crack determines like a lot of the shape of your body more than anybody realizes. And I don't think people quite understand how like low some people's butt cracks are, mine specifically, and how much that like affects like how clothes fit you, like what things look on your body.
Well, also
it's crazy.
It for sure affects like even how much of an ass you have.
Yeah,
Like
and how big it can get.
Right. Like no matter how much you do, like if your butt is just already sits kind of essentially lower because your butt crack is lower, like you can have a very plump butt.
It's never going to look the same as somebody with like a high butt crack.
Yeah, I have a higher butt crack.
I don't.
And like I think that helps like the shape of my ass. But then like it makes my like back not look so long. And I think that that's why then it
and mine is the exact opposite, which is this phenomenon that me and my roommate were talking about, because I was talking to her the other day about like, we were talking about like butt crack heights and like blah, blah, blah. And she's like, what do you mean a low butt crack? And I showed her. And I was like, this is what I mean. And I pulled my pants like down to where my butt crack would start. And what's crazy is in the front, half of my vagine was out. But in the back, my butt crack had not even started yet. And she was like, oh my God. She was like, you have a super long torso. And I was like, no, because my hips are all the way up here. She goes, oh my God, how does that even work? And I was like, you are preaching to the choir.
How does it even work? I'm literally living proof.
Because this is like, and this is why I've said like I have a quote Mike Wazowski body. And it's because like if you think about Mike Wazowski, if you picture his round, short torsoed body in your head, imagine where his butt would be. It would be so low and non-existent.
Have you never seen Mike Wazowski's butt? Well, like I could literally have an image in my head.
Exactly. It's very low. It's very like and that's it. You know what I mean? It's like the Reese's heart. And that's why I said this looks like my butt, because it's very just like dropped there and very, very shallow crack and very, very short crack. And yeah, I have a low butt crack, a short torso, and very high hip bones to make for a very odd body. And it's one of those things
but
that
I don't look at your body and think that you're disproportionate.
Because I learned how to dress like at a certain point in my life. But when I used to wear high-waisted jeans and a crop top, I looked insane because it was like, what? Like
I've been recently thinking like, because I've been wearing a lot more like low waisted, like not as high waisted of like pants and stuff. Right. So when I do wear something that is higher waisted, like
it's a shocking feeling.
Yeah, not even like the way that it fits on my body, because I do enjoy like a higher waisted jean. Like I think like standing purposes, like it looks like good on my body.
Yeah.
But then like it depends on where my shirt hits. Like if my shirt is too cropped and then you see the entire thing of the pant, like my butt looks low.
Yeah.
Like the illusion is so much different, where like I've been trying to like be better about not getting super high waisted things.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like forever that was like the thing. And then it went from like super high waisted to just like back down to like low waisted shit, and like I'm like a good in betweener type thing.
Yeah,
now
I will say that like I feel like modern clothes that make quote low waisted pants, it's not a true low waist because the space between like the crotch and where the zipper ends is way too long.
I kind of like those pants because like to me like that's like like high enough that it's so like covering the parts of my body that feel like they need to be covered to have pants on, but then it's not like too high where it's like whatever that's like up to my fucking titties, but then it's also not too low where I feel like my pants are just falling down the entire time. And I feel like that's the problem with pants today. Like it's either too low where I just feel like they're slipping off, or too high and they're like
no, when I wear those like in between is like a true high-waisted pant on me. Like it looks like a real high-waisted. And then when I would wear like actual high-waisted, like back in the day where that's all you could buy, insane. Like, and then sometimes like it was about the statement of the fact that it was high-waisted, so you had to wear a crop top with it. But then my crop top would only be like I would have to like fold the crop top because like the pants were so high.
Because well, also it was like because I'm not in a point. I think this is just me being older now. Like I do enjoy like a crop top. There's time and place for it. Like I think that like if I'm in gym clothing or whatever, like having my stomach out more is like a thing. But I've been really enjoying almost like baby tee like length. With like where you can kind of just see like a little bit of my stomach, but it's like hitting my pants. Like that can like it connects right there. But if I like push my arm up, like you could see my stomach. Like I enjoy that length right now. And that's but like this shirt itself was like long, where like I'd have to tuck it, and for like a split second I was like, do I cut this shirt? Like do I cut it?
And then you're like, don't do it.
Well, yeah, because like it's a shirt I could wear for work, and that's where like I was like, do I do it? Do I not? And I was like, no. I feel like we don't for like this brief thing that I'm doing. Like it'll be okay. So I tucked it up underneath my bra. So right now it's just I didn't want to wear a bra, but now I have one on simply so it could just have the bottom of the shirt.
I did that so many times, like in college. So I would like crop a shirt more because my torso was so short to crop it and make it actually a crop top on me. Like I would do that like all the time, just tuck it under the bra.
That's where I'm at. For sure. So Emily and I were just like downstairs talking about like our family, and like she was going through like her grandparents' house and like you know all the things. We're like going like about like our aunts and cousins and like whatever, like kind of like very nostalgic like talk that we just kind of had. And she was talking about one of her cousins, how they're like a he, she, they, them. Like she decided that she was going to be, she's not in a box. Okay. She wants to be everything. And for that, we love her.
But I haven't had the conversation with them about that.
We love them.
I just went on their Instagram and saw their pronouns.
She, whatever. I don't even know how to like describe. Anyway.
Non-binary, I'm assuming.
The one, the girl who went for brunch for today, like it was her birthday, and this is like I'm not like outing her in any way because like this might sound mean the way I'm gonna say it, but she's a lesbian, okay? And her girlfriend was there and whatever, and like her girlfriend is very like feminine and like blonde hair, like curly, like super cutesy, whatever. And then the girl whose birthday it was is like more masculine looking. Like she definitely still looks like a female, but like cut like buzz head, like more masculine, whatever. And she was telling us all these stories. Like this just like came up in my head when we talked about this earlier, but she was telling us all these stories about how like when she's in bathrooms and like even at work, people like look at her and be like, this is the women's bathroom. Or like older,
I saw a TikTok
like a lot
about
of like older people be doing that. And it's like I think it's crazy just like how much like as a generation we've like pushed forward to like allow people to be themselves and acceptance and all that, but like just so much how like because we were talking about our grandparents, this kind of goes into that I guess conversation, but just how like they just simply don't give a fuck. Like simply don't give a fuck. Because she's like, I was literally washing my hands and this like woman like walked and was like, oh like whatever, and like at work she wears a black shirt, black pants, like we all do, and like she has a shaved head, not like fully, there's hair and she has it dyed and stuff, but like enough that from behind I could kind of maybe see, but she like went back to like make sure it was a woman's bathroom and was like staring at her like she was incorrect for being inside there. She was like, hi, and she's like, the craziest thing is that I had to go serve her at her table.
Oh god, I saw a TikTok of something very similar happening to this woman, and it was like her and her girlfriend were like, I don't know if they were at dinner or they were somewhere in public, and the her girlfriend had like gone to use the restroom, and her girlfriend is very like mask presenting, but she still identifies as a woman.
Right,
you know
that's
what I mean?
Exactly how she is. Yeah.
And so like she's using the women's restroom, and like this lady was like screaming at her. It was like, get the fuck out of here, you fucking pervert, like all this stuff. And she was like, I just went pee. Like, what are you talking about? Like, calm down. But it is really crazy how like some people are still like so
but
behind and just like, oh my God.
I don't think I've ever thought about it though. Like to me, it's just like, I guess it's just also where we like kind of grew up in, and like also like being in a city, being younger, like it's just, I don't know. I don't think about it.
Also, like when I'm in the bathroom, I'm so only minding my own business.
Yeah, like what? I'm not looking at anybody.
No,
the fuck? I'm not.
No.
The only time I'm not minding my business is like if people are like doing some crazy shit in the toilet. Like that's what I'm like.
And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, that's about it.
The confidence you have to just let it rip in here is insane.
I know.
Insane.
I know. But there was like another girl there as well who's also a lesbian, and she's like her girlfriend is very mask presenting, and they were talking just about how like they love how a lot of restaurants these days have like unisex bathrooms. Like they're just like it's almost like a hallway with like
it's stalls,
sinks, and it's just like stalls, anyone can go in them kind of thing. And like they love it because they're like, we can just go to the bathroom and just like feel normal
and not feel fucking like everybody's staring at me or whatever.
Right, because she was like, normally if that's not the case, like I go with my girlfriend to the bathroom because she's like doesn't want to go alone. And I think that's crazy that like we still live in a society where it's like she has to go make sure that she's okay so she doesn't get bullied by an old lady in the bathroom.
So fucked up.
Like,
or some guy who's like walking in the dude's restroom, like sees her go in there and is like, hey, it's like, fuck off. Like,
right, but she's
like to pee.
She's like, I'm a woman though. Like that's the thing. Like I'm going to the women's bathroom.
I'm sorry, like, not to say this has never happened because I'm sure it has, and I'm sure like somebody could like pull it on Google right now, but like not a ton of like assaults I feel like happen in the restroom, like in a public restroom. So like that's the last thing I'm thinking about when I'm going to the bathroom, that some guy's gonna walk in here and like do that. So I mean,
it for sure has happened, and I'm for sure I guarantee you people use that to their advantage. Like, unfortunately the wrong people use that for their advantage, but like like if I feel like if she's in the bathroom doing her thing, minding her own business, she went to the stall, went pee, came out, washing her hands, and is leaving.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why are you throwing a
What
fit?
are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
I will say, like, with the gender neutral bathrooms, the only thing I don't like about it is like straight dudes are fucking gross, and so like most of the time there's like piss on the seat, or like the toilet has not been flushed, the seat's still up, and I'm kind of like, okay, this is what I do appreciate about a women's restroom besides a Target women's restroom. For the most part, it's like decently clean.
But I don't know, I feel like something about women's restrooms, like low-key, they always have like a weird stench.
Yeah, because I think coochies just smell, and that's the thing, and like it's a very lingering scent, you know, and I feel like especially if it's like a club or like a bar or something, like we're all sweating, we all probably have so many layers of like fucking compression shit on, like
that's true.
Nothing's breathing, and you take it off and it's just like a fucking bomb goes off.
That's
and so
true.
I feel like that must lingers a
That's
bit.
true, and I guess not everyone is like created equal in that department.
Yeah, so like I feel like that's probably why. But also men's restrooms stink too because of like other reasons.
Well, they like piss on the ground.
Yeah, and like the urinal cakes smell like fucking disgusting. It's just like nasty.
Yeah, I don't know. Public restrooms are a crazy thing, but I don't know. I was just thinking, like when we were there, I was like, huh, it's like something I've never had to like think about or like deal with, but then like is very real.
Yeah, no, seriously. Like I can't imagine, like especially here. Like it's not the most progressive city, and it's like not the most.
If anything, they're going back in time.
Jesus Christ! Yeah, tell us, like the laws here are so insane. But this is completely unrelated, and I don't know how else to introduce this conversation besides just kind of hard pivot. But I was thinking the other day, or it was yesterday, I had this like idea and just like popped in my head, and I was like, I gotta write this down. But like, I feel like we always see like cult documentaries, or like, you know, there's always true crime shit around cults and whatever. And every time I'm watching it, I'm like, Jesus, these people are so fucking stupid. Like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Like, how does anybody get themselves into these situations? Blah, blah, blah. But then I was thinking, I was like, you know what? Is there anybody in my life who I could think of that would 100% join a cult? And I'm like, yeah. Off the top of my head,
What?
I'm not, you know this person, and it's not a friend, but it's that guy.
But it's that guy.
JT.
Oh!
And I went back and I thought about that. I was like, oh my God. No.
Oh God.
He definitely was like either in a cult or was like very close to joining one.
Because
remember that like Google Doc sent me?
That's what I was just about to say. He didn't make that himself.
No. And it was like that. It was a twin flame thing.
Yeah.
Remember? Like, I don't know if you guys have watched that documentary. It's like the twin flame story and whatever. It's like this fucking talk about fucking gender roles that they try to assign to people and like masculine, feminine bullshit. But like, he was like subscribed to that notation that every person has a twin flame out there who is the opposite sex of you. Of course, it can't be. God forbid your twin flame is the same sex as you, and
or
if
you're
they
a
are,
best friend, or
and if they are, they need to be the opposite of you in terms of masculinity, femininity, whatever. But me and Kellen met this guy out one time, and this was when I was in my like binge drinking, very much alcoholic era. We were just standing in
line going into the bar, and he was sitting behind us by himself.
Yeah.
Red flag.
He was by himself going out because whatever. So we start talking, and like, anyways, I'm like, I hook up with him one time, and then he like calls me and invites me to this wedding or whatever, and I'm kind of like, haha, okay, but like, I'm never planning on seeing this person again. Anyways, I end up seeing him again, whatever. He sends me this like Google Doc, or this link to a Google Doc that has all of this fucking like pages on pages on pages about like zodiac signs, and like, I mean, I'm all for like know your horoscope, whatever, but like, I'm not ruling every decision of my life based off of that.
Yeah, no.
Like, this was insane. And like, he like showed me who his twin flame was, and it was like this older woman who like, they don't have any sexual thing, but he was like, but she's my like yin to my yang, and like blah blah blah, and like went into this whole thing, started talking about like this Google Doc essentially was like a cult recruitment thing, and I wish I still had access to it because it is insane. But I was just thinking, I was like, yeah, that is a person I've met in real life who 1000% would join a cult and not even realize they were joining it until it was like they were far in.
He's also stupid, so he would have been like,
no, he's so fucking stupid.
Yeah,
so fucking stupid. And remember when he like pitched me that idea for like, it was for truckers. And it was like a seatbelt attachment for like truck drivers.
What?
That was basically a bib so that they could eat on the go.
What?
And he like went and pitched this to this company, and they like were like, no, this is stupid. Like, why would we buy this? But like, I don't know. He had like all these, he was like that guy who's like, I'm an entrepreneur. Like, I'm just doing my own thing.
I followed him for a little bit longer than Emily did on social media.
He commented on my TikTok yesterday, and that's what's bringing this whole thing. Now all the pieces are together.
Okay, so he like
fucking crazy.
No, he like, for a minute I was still following him on social media.
Weird.
And he's just like that guy. He's like, we're up, we're doing this, we're getting gains.
He's like the last night was a movie.
Yeah, always.
It was never a movie.
Yeah. Oh my god.
His friends were losers.
All
they
I
were
can ever
weird.
think about. Oh my god, I remember because we were like
his ugly ass friend.
Yeah, because we were at Emily's house, and he was like, "Oh, my friend." Like, I was supposed to meet up with him. I was like, "Is he cute?" And he was like, "Yeah, we should go get him."
And then he was like, "He's like, what did he call him? Savage or something?"
It wasn't that. It was like big. I don't know. It was something weird. Something very weird.
His name was Brad.
I don't even know.
No, his actual name was Brad.
Oh, I don't remember.
They called him something like
something weird.
It was like Be Savage or something. It was
It
was something like that where it was like in my head I was thinking like this guy was gonna be like fucking really tall and like cool, like whatever. He's got this crazy nickname, so he must be like really fucking dope. It was like just think of some country club family's kid who like kind of flopped and like went to work into sales and is like prematurely balding. That is what this guy looked like.
Yeah, he was there. They were roommates apparently, and he came over, and I was stuck with him for a hot minute, and I was like, oh my, I had no more things to talk about. He was like asking me about like Diet Coke and like weird things. I remember like the conversation was fucking weird because it was like we had nothing in common.
Yeah,
there was like, and like I feel like I'm fairly easy to talk to. Like I could like find something to talk about, but also in my older age, as I'm getting like
You don't have the patience for it.
No,
I'm
exactly.
the same way.
I would rather
like,
sit
I
here
don't
in
care
silence.
to have. Yes, I would.
I would rather sit in silence and have a conversation
with somebody I don't give a fuck about talking to.
Yeah,
100%.
Like I'm at a point now where like I would just scroll my phone. It might be rude. It might be disrespectful, but like, also, I don't give a fuck.
I don't care what you think about me, and I don't care if you after the interaction is like, that girl was rude and awkward and weird. I never want to come back, because that's the vibes I'm trying to get.
Right? Like I don't want you back.
I
actually don't want you back here. No.
B money. Something like that.
No, it wasn't B money. It was more like the B
swag.
Something, I don't know, dude.
Swag.
Wait,
savage.
why did he comment on your TikTok?
I don't know. He commented something that was like, "This is funny," or something like that.
Did he realize it was you?
I don't know, because that's another thing. But he still follows me on TikTok apparently, because it said follow back when I went to go click on his profile, and I was like, yikes.
So he has to,
I guess. But I saw a guy at the gym the other day, and from the back it looked like him, and I literally got a jump scare. And I was like, oh no, he's back. He's back in Nashville.
He's back from North Carolina.
And why is he at this gym? We were like just doxing him. I'm like, I don't even care. He was such a freak, such a weirdo. But literally, like, I was just thinking,
neither of us follow him, so it's not like you can find him. But.
No. Do you have anybody in your life that you're like, yeah, I could see them joining a cult? There's some girls who are in my sorority that I also believe. Like, I think not a cult at first. They would sign up for like an MLM that was like low key a cult.
I definitely guess I like know people, not anyone.
Like, you definitely know people who sell like essential oils or something.
I have
that's a cult.
One of my guy friends from high school sells essential oils.
Yeah, see.
Yeah. But I definitely have friends and know people who are like not in cults, but they're in covens. Like actual witches.
But I feel like that's just so different, because I feel like witches are chill.
But witches, like, it's a practice. Like, to them it's like a ritual. It's almost like a religion, essentially.
Yeah.
Like, that's like how
I almost feel like it's even less intense than some people I know who are like very religious, who I'm like, yeah, this is a cult. Like that some Southern Baptists, I'm like, this is damn near
because the difference is like they're being preachy, like Southern Baptists
and trying to recruit people.
Yeah, whatever. Where like being in the coven is very like, it's so for yourself. It's so
no,
spiritual.
that's what I'm saying.
But you're definitely, I think, more enthralled with it, like genuinely more enthralled with it. Where like the other one is for show.
And it's almost like you're doing it to reach something else, which is you want to go to heaven in your afterlife.
Right.
Where it's like, I don't know much about witchery or whatever. I don't really think that's part of it.
Well, they have. I've learned some things, because I actually know, I guess technically, some witches. But
do
like,
you know any warlocks?
Though they have like spells on shit and like whatever. I don't know. They're crazy, but they're some of the coolest people I ever met.
Yeah,
it's truly like they're so fucking cool. But I don't know. I'm trying. I feel like yes, because low key, I love my sister, but low key,
yeah,
I feel like she would be the one to be tricked into deception.
Apparently, recently, I've been seeing this all over social media, but like, I guess at like Targets and stores that women frequent often, like an Ulta or Target or like Five Below, like whatever. I guess people from, I'm assuming they're MLMs, but at the end of the day, that shit is like one line away from being a cult.
Yeah.
Who go there just like during the day and like fake like they're shopping and stuff and like talk to you. They're like, oh my God, like we should get coffee or whatever. And then you like meet up for coffee, or you like come over to hang out with them under the guise that like, oh, it's a new friend I made. They're like, so let me tell you about the opportunity to become your own boss. And like, apparently this is super big right now. Like they're recruiting at Targets and stuff. So if a woman is overly friendly to you at a Target, don't fall for it, because she might be trying to scam you into her MLM.
See, no, but that's the difference. Is I have always thought that's like, I'm afraid of being stolen, and I feel like that's a fear that I shouldn't be putting on the internet. But like,
yeah,
I'm deathly afraid of it, so I'm super fucking hyper aware of all that shit. Like,
yeah,
if someone like, even like a woman in Target, like not even long ago, she was like, oh, like I have a question. And I was like, yeah. And she was like,
no, thank you.
She's like, is this skirt cute? And I was like, yeah, I was like, if you like, if you styled it like this or whatever, she's like, okay, like I wasn't like whatever, and she kind of like went away, and then because I've seen stuff like that too, and I was like, was that her like in to like make me feel comfortable? You know what I mean? Like a quick little like. And it could have been just like such a genuine thing of like.
It's so fucked up that we have to think about that shit.
I know.
Yeah.
Because it definitely could have been like a very genuine thing. And she was like, oh, I'm going to dinner with like my husband tonight and like whatever.
Yeah.
Like, was it a fake scenario that she, like to like try to build trust so that if she like saw me again, she'd be like, oh, hey, like whatever. Because I feel like that happens. Like,
come to my car. Let me show you something.
No, because the fuck, the way I'd been like, security, like come get me. No. But like, I feel like that's exactly how like people do it though. Like they just try to, because like you, even in the grocery store, like you accidentally run into them one time in one aisle and you see them like 3 aisles out and you're like, haha, like whatever again. Like it's just kind of like, it's a thing. Like as humans, like you just kind of, you see them down like another 3 aisles and you're like, oh, like you're just like on the same path or whatever. And like one of them is going to make a comment at some point. You know what I mean? Like it just like happens. So I was like, is this like the way that she's like trying to build the trust when I see her down in the cat aisles and getting cat food? She can like say something again and be like, whatever. So I immediately left.
I feel like that.
I was like, I have to go.
Yeah, I've definitely had scenarios like that where it's like one too many coincidences have happened here, and now I'm fucking like my heckles are up, and I'm kind of like, no, something feels off.
One time I was at a Walmart, and it wasn't recent; it was a while ago.
Horrible stories begin like this.
Yeah, I like, and the area that I was in, like, essentially is sex trafficking. I mean, we're by a city, so sex trafficking just happens. Unfortunately, it sounds like I'm saying this so nonchalant, but it's real. And this weird guy, like creepy kind of guy, like he gave me sketch ass vibes. He was walking down an aisle with like 2 of his friends, right? And they like all looked at me, like stared at me, and I was like getting like home stuff, like I was like in the home area, and I was trying to find, I think like, I don't know, like some sort of sheet or blanket. I don't know. I was like looking for something specific. So I was like kind of just like whatever. And I like saw that they like looked at me and I was like, weird. Yeah. But like, okay, like duh, I'm hot. So like, why would you not? No, just kidding. I looked busted because I was in the fucking Walmart. And so like walking around, and then him by himself like goes down an aisle, like, and stares at me. And then I go to another aisle. Like I like moved a couple aisles and he like did it again. And like I went to like the other side of the store and he like was like following me around, and I was so sketched out. Like I ended up going into like this back corner, not like, it was like closer to the front of the store, so I say back, but it was like the pharmacy. You know how they have like little like weird dents. So I was like around somebody that if I had to scream, like someone would be right there. But I was like trying to like hide, and I like hid, and then all of a sudden I didn't see him for like a couple minutes, and I literally dropped everything that I had and I ran out of the store. I was like, whatever I need, don't need it anymore. Not important. I was so scared. Like those things, like, and it could have been nothing. Could have been nothing. They could have been looking. He could have been looking for something, and it happened to be similar. Like I don't know. Was I reading too far into it? Couldn't be too sure.
I know.
No,
it's
I gotta go.
Fucked up that we have to like think that way. Well, that was like almost one time when I was at that scary Kroger that I stopped going to after I got robbed. But I was loading shit into my car, and this woman, as I'm putting things in my car, so my trunk is open, I'm facing my trunk, my back is to everything.
They're just like doof.
Yeah, she comes up right behind me and taps on my shoulder, and she was like, ma'am, and I was like, oh my fucking God, like you scared the shit out of me. And she was like, I guess she was like a homeless woman, and she was like asking if she could have one of the fucking Cokes that I just bought. And I was like, oh yeah. She's like, I just need some sugar, like blah blah blah. And I was like, well, they're diet. And she was like, oh, that'll do. And then she was like looking through my groceries, like trying to get me to like give her more shit. And I was like, but like in the same way where I was like in like fight or flight mode, I was literally just like, yeah, I don't care. Like I was giving her like fucking shit that I just bought because I was like, go away. You're freaking me out. Like my trunk is open. And also I had to park so fucking far away.
Now you're turning an angle where like, what if someone comes behind me and like, I start thinking shit like that.
I was just like, yeah, here you go. And I'm like, as I'm shutting it, she's like, oh, can I have it? And I was like, no, sorry. And like shut it and like awkwardly just like squeezed my body into my car and like just shut my door. And she just stood there and I was like,
dude.
But like, I'm like, don't approach people in public. It is so scary.
No, it's like, it's so sad, but unfortunately, like, unless you have like a man with you, it's so much different when you have a guy with you
And nobody bats a fucking eye.
No.
Nobody looks at you. They don't give a fuck about you.
No.
You are not there.
No.
Yeah.
Because like I'm sure
and
even
I'm
like
is this just what men feel like all the time? No wonder they feel so confident to just run with their tits out and like
I had this,
fucking at night by themselves. I literally had this
conversation the other day because I was leaving work and I didn't have enough gas, but it's 4 a.m. Like I had enough gas mileage to get home. Yeah. And like immediately the next day, like I couldn't go anywhere without going to the gas station, which is like right down the street from me, so it wasn't far. But I was like, definitely should have stopped for gas on the way there, but I was running late to work naturally because I'm a girl and just didn't have enough time. But I was leaving and I was like, I really should stop for gas because like I'm just not gonna have any. But I was like, it's 4 a.m. Like I literally cannot.
Well, and statistically, gas stations are like literally one of the most unsafe places for women to be at any time of day. Yes. Especially at night.
Right. And it's 4 a.m. And I was like, whatever. And I hate calling him this, but Uri's was like coming over because we were both at work. We were coming back, whatever. And he's like, just stop at the gas station. I said, that's a man luxury. I literally looked at him. I was like, that's a luxury of being a man. Yeah. And he was like, I guess so. He's like, I didn't really think about that. And I was like,
I've never ever gone to a gas station and felt comfortable.
Like the fact that you could just like live your life so easy to just say that. Not like, and I wasn't like coming at him about because of course
it's just like men as like the whole.
Right. And he was like, I just guess I never like, he's like, because in my brain, like you need it. So you just go do it.
Because he's thinking like, well, it's more unsafe if you run out of gas and you're stuck on the side of the road. And you're like, not for me. Right. For a woman, I would much rather be stuck on the side of the road and have to wait for like fucking AAA than to go to a gas station.
Also knowing you're gonna be like right behind me, like we'll be good. Yeah. But like, no, that shit, like, I don't know. I think it's crazy. And like, I know that women talk about this and like we talk about this all the time, but like to have to like think about that. Like, because then the next day we went to the gym, I was like, I have to get gas right now. Yeah. And he was like, okay, like whatever. And then we like talked about it and he was like, that's like crazy to me that like you didn't think about getting gas like before. And I was like, no, because when I was running late for work, but also like what am I gonna do? Like 4 a.m? I'm just a girl. Like what do you no. I would rather not have any gas and be at home and figure it out at a later time than no. Yeah. That's crazy.
No. And also like every time I'm on a road trip or anything and I'm by myself, like this is such an extra thing, but I've always done this, is I always wear like some crazy ass outfit every time. Like I'll wear either like a super bright colored sweatshirt or I wear something that is like, you would not, like if a stranger saw me, they would remember seeing me type shit, because I'm terrified that I'm going to go to a gas station on a road trip in the middle of fucking nowhere where nobody around me knows who I am. And I'm going to get like either assaulted or robbed, or my tires are going to get slashed, or like, I'm going to get kidnapped.
It always like doesn't fail that you need gas when it's like the weirdest, most like barren
area. You're in a city where there's one fucking gas station. There's no bathroom. Like it's just scary.
Everyone knows everyone's name.
Yeah. Like, and like literally.
I do make it a point too. Like if I have like the last like major road trip I guess I was on was like driving back to my parents' house. But like I will make sure like as the sun's going down, I'll get gas no matter how much gas I have. Like I will just get gas as the sun's going down, because like I just feel like much safer in a place where it's like bright. Like there's obviously gonna be more people there. And like even the other day, like daytime, but I had to get gas, and like I went past one gas station and like easily could have stopped there, but there was no other cars.
No, yeah, I always go to like a truck stop or something where there's like a lot of people.
I want people around. I want people around because like people are going to be less like likely, in my opinion, to do something with a ton of other people around. Now shit can still go down, but like at least there's somebody else there.
And normally if it's a place that like is more populated, the chances are that's just like a higher traffic gas station in general, so they make more money, so they're more likely to have cameras at work, right? Like which is so insane, back to what we've been saying, to think about that. But it's like little things like that. But yeah, no, every time I go on a road trip and I'm by myself, I will wear something just kind of, it's very memorable. Like if you saw somebody in that in the middle of fucking West Memphis or whatever the fuck, and I'm driving through, they're gonna be like, I saw this fucking bitch at the gas station in this fucking skeleton sweatshirt. She looked insane. But it's like, yeah, but you'll remember that. Or I used to have this neon orange sweatshirt, and I would wear that on every road trip, and on the back it was like the Lonely Ghost brand, so it said text me when you get home. It's just very bright and like obnoxious looking. But yeah, that was like my road trip sweatshirt, because I was like, somebody will remember this, and this will be the last thing I'm wearing, which is going to be important information. I'm like, this is so crazy. I'm thinking this way.
Unfortunately, that's like the life of being a woman. I feel like it's just
especially since living here, I've
also
had
just,
way
like,
too many instances.
Older, like just being older too, and being more careful
and aware of the realities of the world.
Yeah, no, because there's a lot of times, and I know we've talked about them on here and like other things, but like there's just times in my life like I look back and like, especially when I lived in Europe, and I think like you really put yourself in those situations. And my mother's gonna hate hearing that sentence come out of my mouth. But like we've all done it, whether you're in Europe or not, or you're like we're in college and you just like did dumb shit. Not that I ever.
It's because it's like we've talked about this before, but it's like that false sense of adulthood, but you're still in a adolescent state where the responsibility isn't that real. Because at the end of the day, in my head at that age, I was like, okay, well, I'm still have my parents that are like so close, not only in proximity but also in like relation to me, with like they're in charge of my life still. So in my head I'm like, they're protecting me, even if they're not, like I'm not living with them or not around them. But in my head I was kind of like, if something goes bad, I'll just get in trouble. I never thought like I could die.
Well, I feel like the difference like that it's like definitely the adolescence and the naiveness of it all, for sure. Because like definitely very naive of a human being. I already know that about myself. But like that's just kind of what that all like, when I think about those times in my life, like that's just what it gives. Or now I really think about like life being so fragile. Like
1,000%.
It's like it's so fragile in so many areas, like financially, physically, mentally, like all those things that like I don't know if it's just because as an adult or like the way like we harp on things as like a society now, like you can realize a lot of bad things, but like also like a lot of good things and like whatever. But I just feel like it's so easy that like if you aren't taking care of those areas of your life, like shit can go wrong real fast. So it's like, I don't know. I just think it's like I look at life as like very fragile now. I feel like that's like the way to put it.
Yeah. That's why I like, honestly, the thought of having children scares the shit out of me.
That's why I don't want them.
Regardless of the financials or if I think I would be a good parent or whatever, like none of that matters. It's like the fact that like worrying about that. And then I think like back to like my parents, and I'm like, I get it. I get it now. Now I understand why you lost your fucking mind when I snuck out and you caught me. Because for that moment, you didn't know where the fuck I was. You didn't know who the fuck I was with. And you didn't know, like,
are you okay? Are you
happened.
not okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
I could be dead in a ditch and you'd have no idea.
Yeah.
And the fact that you've called me 20 times and I didn't answer, I mean, that would send me into, like, the insane asylum, I think. Like, if that was my kid. Like, I don't know. I think about that. And the other day, so I probably shouldn't be sharing this, but I don't care. It's like not my business, but whatever. Somebody that my family knows, child, got arrested for like a DUI, and they're very young, like not 21 yet. And something like that, as a parent, like finding that out, it's not even that I would be like that angry. It's like I would be like, what the fuck were you thinking?
Yeah, it's not about the DUI that you received
it's like,
at that point.
Like
yeah, because you already got the DUI.
Exactly.
So like,
it's
whatever.
It's like you got behind a wheel, you operated a car drunk, you could have killed somebody else, you could have killed yourself, like whatever.
Also,
and
like you were drinking underage and had zero, like clearly you're not responsible enough to even try to have alcohol, because this is your decision making when you have it.
And then
like,
I just think, and then I'm like thinking back to me, and I'm like, I did dumb fucking shit constantly and always was like, God, I don't know why it's such a big fucking deal. Like, chill out. And now I think about, like, if that was my child, oh my God. I can't imagine, like I would say my parents were relatively like chill, like in terms of like what I was allowed to do, like the freedom that I had, the like independency that they gave me, compared to a lot of my friends who had like helicopter parents, which totally backfired. But it is pretty amazing to think that they were able to give us that kind of like trust and we'll let the reins out. because I think if like that was my kid, oh my God. I don't know, because it's like I wouldn't want to be a helicopter parent because I would resent myself for doing that. But at the same time, it's like the things I know about the world are so fucking scary, which also I think that's a bit different from our generation and theirs, because every generation we have more information, we know more things, we see more of the evils of the world because of the news and the accessibility to it and through social media. So like obviously we know more than our parents did, and our kids are going to know more than we did and whatever. But like even still, like I can't imagine people having kids now. Like it would just scare the shit out of me. Like with what I see online every day, I can't. It's so scary. And I feel like when they're little, it's like all fucking sunshine and rainbows because like they have no sense of self yet. Dude, and then when they grow up and they become like a sentient being and like have their own opinions and can drive a vehicle and like whatever, I'm like, no.
I'm not even kidding. It's so crazy that you said this, because the other day we went to visit one of our servers. He has like a brunch place that he serves at. So we're like, we should go visit him. Also, incredible. Incredible. I will tell you when we're out of this. Yeah. It's so good, and you need to take your parents there. Like, it's delicious.
Dang.
But anyway, it's actually right by your work. But anyway, I digress. We like walked, there was a 45-minute wait. So like we walked over to like get Starbucks, and like we were like, oh, we'll just walk back, like have the coffees and just chill until like we can get a table. And this like, it was definitely like his grandmother was like with her grandson, who was like at the age where like he's still so pure and innocent, and was like running with his like light up shoes, and was like, it was super fucking cute. And she was just like so happy that he was there. He was like helping her carry a package into like FedEx. Yeah. It was so cute. And it's like them like giggling together. And like I like looked at him and I like turned and I was like, the saddest part is like I looked at that and was like, damn, he's like so innocent and this is the cutest thing ever. But like I hope that she's soaking this up, because it's like it's about to end in like 2 years. Yeah. Like, and he was still so young. He was probably like 5 or 6. But I was like, in 2 years from now, he's going to be so corrupted, and like it sucked. Like that's all I could think was like, he's just so innocent right now and so naive to the world that it's so like pure and genuine, but like it just is taken away so fast now. Yeah, like with the way that the access of things, I'm like, that just sucks.
It's the unregulated internet access.
I know, but like I was like, I don't, for sure he has like moments and shit, obviously, but like I was like, just like, I already know, like give it 2 years and it's just like a complete 180.
Yeah. Like, well, and it makes sense too, because like what is so insane, and not to get on our soapbox of like, well, back in my day, like da 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 da, whatever, but seriously, like there isn't a ton in terms of media or anything that is made for kids that isn't like baby shit, like Cocomelon, or like now I'm looking up to a 23-year-old
vlogger
who's a party girl vlogger, whatever, and I'm 10.
Like Alex Earl.
I'm like, sorry, whatever. Like that is not a fucking role model for a kid. Like that's a role model for an 18-year-old. But not a baby, like, you know what I mean? And like, well, that's like, if you think back like to our time, we had like Disney Channel shows, and if you think about like actual television, for the most part, it's very regulated. Like shit has to go through rounds and rounds and rounds and rounds of approval from network, from the like show itself, from like the TV ratings, whatever. And even that, like the what qualifies as like PG versus PG-13 versus TVY7, insane. Me and my roommate like 2 weeks ago watched that new Avatar The Last Airbender live action thing. It was rated PG, and in the first episode I watched 20 people get stabbed to death, and I was like, whoa, like we had to pause it because we were like, wait, this is PG? And then I like went into this like fucking spiral of like looking at like what that actually means in terms of the guidelines, and they are so fucking loose when it comes to that shit now. They said asshole in the show, and I was like, this is PG.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But and also like that's where this little boy got into this whole conversation then too. I was like, it's crazy because like for him, like if I was a little girl, it would have been very different. Like because I think that like a little boy would be watching that show, watching them get slaughtered, hearing the word asshole, whatever. And like, if you had a sister, maybe she kind of came in.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a little bit different because I had a sister. But like, I just feel like little girls stay innocent for a lot longer just based off like the content. There's so much more content for girls and women to consume that isn't like sexualized or bad. Like we have like hair and makeup and fashion and like cutesy little like things that we can go like on tangents on for hours.
Yeah.
We're like boys, I feel like that's just not the same.
Well, yeah, and also what is actually like equally as fucked up for girls is like everything that is marketed towards girls in terms of entertainment revolves around hyper consumerism at a very young age, the way that boys doesn't really. Because theirs is more of like the stories that they're exposed
trucks
to
and destruction
are exactly, they're
women and
they're
like
whatever, but they're not like physical products that you can like go buy at the store. Where it's like for girls it's like and that's what's also so crazy. I mean, I'm sure you've seen like all like the Sephora 10-year-olds going and buying like Drunk Elephant and getting fucking retinols, and they're using on like skin that quite literally like doesn't even create like oils yet because they haven't gone through
the whole
puberty.
Sephora where it's like all these little girls are just like in the stores, and it's so true.
But it's also like, what else do you like expect them to like? Like when their role models are people who their job, quite literally their career, is to pretend like they get all these things and they really love them and that they want you to try them. But in reality, they're getting paid for it. But a 10-year-old's brain can't conceptualize anybody would lie to them, especially their favorite YouTuber or TikToker. So of course they're gonna go buy the fucking retinol that prevents hyperpigmentation and wrinkles when they don't even know what the fuck that is.
They don't even know what any of that means.
And it's so sad and so fucked up because it's like just robbery of their childhood. And like, not to say that like we didn't have like makeup and stuff, but we also didn't have those type of people on the internet the way that these kids do today.
No, that's what I just feel like it's crazy. And like seeing like that's a huge part of like me not wanting to have kids.
I think that's our whole generation, like, honestly.
It's just like you can, I mean, obviously like to a point, I guess, like if we're cognizant of it and like whatever, you could try to keep them away from it, but like there's just no way. Like,
but then you become the asshole parent that nobody wants to come to your house, and your kid hates you because like you won't buy them the fucking Stanley Cup or whatever, and like you're the dickhead, you know what I mean? And then your kid gets bullied because of it. So it's like I feel like a lot of parents have no choice but to kind of like
fold into that.
Exactly. And it's like, I don't know, it's very sad, and I do think that is a big reason, like you said, like why people, our generation specifically, don't want kids, because it's like we also, I feel like, can discertain the like, we can remove ourselves from the equation. I mean, a lot of us can, to be like, is this selfish of me to have a kid just because like I want to be a parent?
I was having this conversation the other day with people at work, and I was like, I feel like the most like selfish thing you can do is have a kid, just because of, like, it's a norm, it's what you're supposed to do, like you're in a relationship for a while and like this is the next step type thing. I think it's like actually, and like you could look at me, I guess, and like even you, and say that it's extremely selfish. Well, I feel like you do want kids, but for me, like that I don't want kids.
Yeah.
And you could say that that's extremely selfish because the reasons, as of right now, being in my mid-20s, is financially, don't feel like sharing it with a kid. My time, don't feel like sharing it with a kid. I don't want to wake up on a Saturday and have to go to soccer practice. That sounds boring. Like that sounds miserable, if I'm being honest. Like those things, and like you could say that's selfish, but I feel like it's more like, it's the most selfless thing than to be like, it's not for me. But like I feel like it'd be more selfish if I was like, nah, I want all those freedoms, but like let me have a kid too.
Yeah.
Like,
and I'm just gonna not do the things that I need to do, because it really is like, it's a commitment that, and I think also for me, like having a sibling who has 2 children and seeing that and having honest conversation with both of them, because like they absolutely love their kids, of course. However, they will be the first people to tell you like your life ends the moment you have a child, and for better or for worse, it's never going to be the same. And you will never be that person that you were before you had the kid. And that's not to say that he's or she are like upset. I mean, obviously that another one, they clearly like having kids, but like it's just the honest truth. And so that's one thing that he's told me and my younger brother, and been like, just remember, like, which I think is important and not a lot of people talk about, the like, this change. You are never going to be the version of you that you are today the moment you have a child. It's just never going to happen again. And like, some people are ready for that commitment and you and I are not. Right. And that's the difference. But we are self-aware enough to know that we would be bad parents if we had a kid right now.
Exactly. And I feel like that's the most selfless thing.
No matter how hard I try.
Truly, I think it's more selfless than it is selfish.
It is.
And I feel like, but society deems us selfish for that.
Well, because we're women and our only role in fucking anything is to have a kid and to take care of a house.
That's true.
And that's why. Because nobody says that to dudes who are like, I don't want a kid until I'm 35. They're like, yeah, that's smart. Go get your finances in order and go get your career and build the da-da-da-da and then enjoy life. And it's like, nobody would ever say that to a woman though. They're like, oh, well, you're not fertile anymore, so you're a failure. It's like, okay.
Like, are you sure? One day you're gonna want one.
Exactly.
When you find the right guy, it'll be like, there's always those like little things, and it's like, no, Mary Beth, that's not true. Because oh my God, it seems like you love your life so much now that you have a kid. Right, like you seem so happy that this
all
little shit's crying,
complain,
that this little shit's crying because you spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on him this entire year, and they're still unhappy. And like, I love kids, and I love giving them back. I
want to possibly have a child one day. I don't know, but like, at the end of the day, I worked yesterday from 8 a.m. until about 9:30 last night. I didn't eat one single time during the day. I showered and ate dinner at about 10 p.m. and then I went to sleep. I could not do that with a kid. And if I did, CPS would be called. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, it's not, I'm not trying to say like, oh, I'd be a bad mother, but like, in order to do what I'm doing right now, I absolutely would be a horrible mom. I would have, my whole life would have to change. And which was my brother's point. It's like, you are no longer your own person
even that
anymore.
Freedom, like I'll like randomly call my parents and like, oh, what are you doing? I'm like, cooking dinner. My mom's like, cooking dinner? It's 8:30.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, what's it matter? Like what who's waiting on me? Me? That's it. Like, but you had to come home from work, immediately cook dinner, have us eat, clean up dinner, help us with our homework, give us showers, put us to bed. And then you only got to sit down and enjoy your night for maybe an hour before you probably went to sleep.
I think the difference is, and this is like kind of fucked up to say because it's no hate on our parents because they are amazing. We've tasted life in adulthood without it.
That's true.
They did not.
Like, my parents were already at this age, I think they would have been married.
Right.
At least. Because if I do math right, they would have been, I mean, at least within the next year or two, they would have been married and having my sister.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And like, but even so, like, if they weren't, they were still like in a very serious relationship for multiple years. And like, they had that like outlook on, okay, these are the next steps of life. Where me and you, for the past however many years, have been able to and had the like freedoms to just literally look at life and say, what the fuck do I want to do tomorrow? And not have a thought behind these beautiful faces of ours of like, strategically, I need to be planning like X, Y, and Z in order to do this, this, and this. Like, we're able to devote that mind power and that like part of our brain to like other things that like they weren't. And I think my parents are in the same boat. I mean, my dad had my brother, like, I don't know how old he was, but in his 20s. My mom had me in her 30s, but before my dad was married. You know what I mean? It's just very different. And so I think that's also like, for them looking at our lives, it's kind of like, not that it's like so foreign, but it is very different.
It's true. Because also like, my parents have never pressured me to like be in a relationship or I need to find that person. Like
but recently my dad's been making little comments to me, and I don't know if he realizes it. My whole life, he's been so happy that I'm single because he quite literally has hated every boy I've ever talked to or has looked my direction, and has made sure I know that. That like he hates them. Okay, so I stopped bringing men around family because of my dad and my brothers. Like they all fucking sucked around the guys I dated. The guys I dated all fucking sucked. But hindsight, whatever, you know? Like, so I never talked about it. Recently, every time I'm on the phone with my dad, it's like I talked about the other day. I was like, oh yeah, I was at the gym. He's like, any cute guys there? And I'm like, the fuck? Also, no, I go to the gym early as fuck. It's like old people. It's like the fucking grandpas that are at the gym on the fucking elliptical at 6 a.m. Or like even when he was like moving me, my neighbor at my old apartment was outside like fixing something on his car. The most just mid-looking white dude you've seen in your whole life. Nothing special about this guy. He looked like an NPC. Oh, do you know your neighbor? No. He's like, good looking guy. You should go introduce yourself. I was like, that's a good looking guy to you? Like, what? I'm sorry. No, like, anyways, but like, yeah, no, my whole life, my family hasn't been like that. My mom's definitely not. But my dad recently, and I don't know what his thing is. I don't know if he's like, oh, well, clock's ticking if you don't have kids.
My parents have never been like, because I think it's funny, like they just always like, I'm just gonna do my thing, like even the way like things I did in college, or like just the way I just like enjoy my life is just very different. And I think that's like very to them, and like the way that they live their life is, it's just different. And like I think that they appreciate that in me, that I'm just like, I just kind of fly by the seat of my pants, do things that I want to do, don't, whatever, like and like my sister, not that she doesn't, because she's also very unique and very herself, but like she's always had her husband. Yeah. Essentially. So like they never really had to like worry about her in that sense. And when my sister was getting married, my dad like would make comments about how like they never had to use he's like, well, we have Kellen's wedding fund, but like we won't have to ever use that. Like he'd always make comments like that. And I don't know if they were like, because that was his way of being like, should probably start looking. Yeah. Or if it was his way of being like, no, because he truly was like, I just generally don't see you like getting married. Like, I just see you like.
Which is like, okay, I don't know how to receive that.
He's like, I'm like, okay.
What do you mean by that? Like, are you saying because I'm like so independent and can do my own thing? Or are you saying because like, you don't think I could like be in love with, like, that's just like it's a very dude thing to say.
But I think he was, I know he's saying it more on the end of like, I'm independent and I'm very like, I don't really care about that stuff. Like, if it happens, cool. If it doesn't, cool. Like I've never in my life like searched for a man. Mm-hmm. Even in like years where like in college where like I should have truly been like fucking anything and everything. Yeah. And, like, I was never that person. Yeah. And like I just didn't care. Like if there was a cool guy and we vibed and we did, cool. But I'm
definitely the same.
I've never like went out to the bar seeking a guy and like doing those things, and like they just know that about me. Like I just never cared. But like him making those comments were crazy to me, because like I look at him and be like, what the fuck? I'm like, well, he's like, yeah. He's like, well, at some point, me and your mom are just gonna take this and go on like a really nice sick vacation.
Also, like, my favorite thing,
but like you should, like surely, like you should take that money and go do that.
But I think my favorite thing about those type of comments too, it's like the whole like, oh, your wedding fund, blah blah blah, like whatever. It's also like, okay, like it can't be that much. Like my parents have done that too, and I'm like, there's no way you guys have put away a specific amount of money in an account that says like Emily's what, like that doesn't exist. And I know it doesn't.
No, my parents do.
No, I know that does not exist.
That's how my parents are like the envelope people. Like my entire life, my parents have operated their finances out of envelopes. And I know that sounds crazy to like you and I who use debit cards for everything. Yeah. But like truly, like they go to the bank when they get paid. And like they obviously do a lot of things electronic now. Yeah. But like growing up, they would pay bills with like checks, but like my dad would have like money allotted to the side, or like if it was groceries, like even still they only pay for groceries in cash. And like my
parents are the exact opposite.
But also like to them, like my dad has a Venmo, but like my mom's not gonna Venmo my dad for groceries, which is like what we do now, right? Yeah. But like for them, like they both get money out of the bank and they both put it into these envelopes, and it's like their weekend fund, their like traveling fund, like they have legit things, and they have that for our wedding. Yeah. And I know that's a fact, but like, and I mean, I know how much they gave my sister because my dad got a little drunk and told me. Yeah. So, and I'm not that I don't even care. Like if they use
like finances with my parents, I'm like, I have no idea, because like they've never talked about that around me.
Like
The only time my dad has ever got loose-lipped about anything was when he had to be the guarantor on my first apartment because I didn't make enough money to like do it on my own. But that wasn't even like, I didn't know his like how much money they had. You know what I mean? Yeah, it was like whatever.
He was like, here's the paper.
Exactly.
No, yeah, I don't really know like in depth of my parents' finances at all, but like, yeah, no, I think it's just funny that like those comments were made because like. Also, like, again, I don't care. Use it. It's your fucking money. Like,
also,
it's not mine.
Point, I'm not 19, like a child bride where I have no, like,
right. And also,
we'd
like,
make it work.
I'm so thankful. Like, I'm actually very thankful that, like, I didn't try to stay with my high school boyfriend, or I didn't try to stay with some dude in college, or I didn't force something that, like, just wasn't right or isn't right because, like, I don't know. I look at my parents and like they've been together since high school, which is like cute and it's a beautiful thing. And like they still very much love each other. And I think it's great. And like they found that in themselves. My sister and her husband, same thing. Like they've been together for a while. Like they found that in each other. And I think it's great. But for me, like I was just finding duds. Like, did you want me to just hang out with some duds over here? Some fucking loser ass bitches? Like you wanted me to have that?
That's like literally my dad when he was like, what about this guy? I was like, you saw the closest male in my proximity and you said you should hit him up. I'm like, Dad, if he's living in this apartment, I don't want to date him.
But it's not even about that. It's like, I want to make sure that like I have somebody in my life that like I have is like my best. Yeah, I chose them. Like my best friend first. Like also, I don't think that I was in a place like mentally with myself in order to like accept somebody for like all those fucking things. Like I don't know.
Also at this point, my issue now at this point is that I've done too much self-discovery and too much whatever that like my checklist is very long.
Okay, but I've been there.
Yeah.
I've done it, but I think that that's a good thing because like you're just going to be like not because this is also like a thing where like not everything that comes your way now you're going to accept. And I think at some point in your life, like that didn't matter to you. Like it was just like, okay, it's fun for the moment, whatever. But now you're like, no, like you care about your energy, you care about your time. So I think it's a good thing. Like truly, it's just going to weed out people a lot faster. But like, I don't know. I think it's just like, I'm thankful that I would have waited or like care about having something later in life because I feel like it could be more fruitful for the rest of my life than like meeting some dude in my 20s and hoping that like
because we live in the same hometown and it just makes sense.
We should just do this.
But
like really I hate him by 32. Like I don't want that. Like what? What? No.
You know what? A show I like to reference a lot in terms of like adulthood and like a very real look at like what being adults is, and this is the stupidest thing ever, but like Friends is absolutely one of the coolest shows. Looking back now as an adult, we are like the age that they are in like the first season, right? They have roommates, they're living together, they're all kind of single, they're all kind of like doing life, like whatever, figuring their shit out. I mean, like fucking Rachel's career changes like God knows how many times. She starts off as a waitress and like works her way up in like the fashion world. Like it's very like, as corny and as stupid as the show is, it's a very like hopeful and realistic perception of what adulthood should look like when you do things that make you happy. Like Joey's like a fucking struggling actor and he just lives with his best friend and he's kind of an idiot, but he refuses to like give up on his dream. You know what I mean? Like Ross is about the only one who has his shit together, but still he's like in a failed fucking marriage and like his wife becomes a lesbian.
But he
and,
also only has, it was successful to society, and I think that's the point of it is
and
like,
then when he started to choose himself, he realizes like all these decisions that he made kind of like weren't fulfilling to him and whatever, but he was the older brother, so he did all the things that he was supposed to do and he whatever. And it is the corniest example ever, but that and also Grey's Anatomy are great shows for like showing you what your late 20s and early 30s should look like when you are completely doing it for you. And like people will come into your life and relationships will happen and shit is going to be like up and down and whatever, but it's also like the clock is like years go by fast and whatever, but also it's like with society being so obsessed with youth, there's this like rush to do things when you're young because it's like, if you don't do it now, then you're going to regret it later. But in reality, I feel like it's like, the later you do it, the more you'll appreciate it, because you'll know that like you've done all the work and the things that you want to do and whatever. And now you're like at a healthy point in your life to like accept that or have kids or do whatever. But I always think back about Friends and how that show is like a really good example of like a realistic life in your mid to late 20s, early 30s, when you just kind of choose shit that makes you happy. And like feeling like, but like they have roommates and like,
not even to like a relationship standpoint. Like I'm thankful that like I've been able to like pivot and do different things.
Totally.
And, like,
that's what I'm saying.
Not have that person too, to also like, because there's sometimes like I love my sister and I love her husband and I would never, ever, ever want her with somebody different. Never in my life. But I have said this and I have thought this for her. It's like, are you sure that like that is what you wanted? Because I look at her sometimes, I'm like, I feel bad that like your entire 20s where you're supposed to like change careers, and she did, like, because he also is a good person and healthy for her, and like she was able to like still experience things. But like, did you ever just like want to go do crazy things and like not have to think about him? Did you ever want to just like, I don't know, just like do whatever you wanted to fucking do in your life and not have that person like to bounce that idea off of? And I also understand for her, like, he is again healthy and great and all the things, so like he allowed her to still live her life and go do the things.
But it's still at the end of the day, she had to think about somebody else's happiness,
we're like
alongside of her own.
Simply always just got to enjoy our own, and I think that that's like there's a beauty to that too. And like, that's what my mom always would tell me is like, yes, but like there's also a beauty in like that for her. Like that's what she's choosing, and like you have to accept that. I'm like, I know, but like I just, you know, does she never want to just like,
the grass is always greener.
I don't know, but like is it or is it not for her? Like for her maybe it's not, and like that's also okay, but like I don't know, I think there's like a beauty in it too. And I think it's cool that like your 20s you should be like figuring shit out and like not in your perfect career yet and not in the perfect spot. Of life. Also,
we're literally in a fucking economic downfall. The housing market's shit anyways. Nobody's gonna be able to fucking do anything. Like, who fucking cares? Why are you killing yourself to like make other people happy when in reality like everything's going to shit right now? So like,
I mean, I won't look at it that way. That's a little morbid, but
no, I'm just saying like it's bad as it is, so why wouldn't you just do shit that makes you happy?
Right, like it's
like nobody's gonna be a millionaire right now. It's just not gonna happen.
Right, and that's what I've been like, people at work recently have been like super just, I mean, we're like in a slow season too, so I understand like financially and whatever, but like I'm like, literally, like life isn't that serious. Like it really isn't. I'm like, go for a walk today. Like it's beautiful. Go outside and go for a walk. Like there are simple things you can do in your life like that can bring you a lot of joy. Like life isn't that serious. And I think that, because I definitely think sometimes too, like my parents don't really give a fuck what I do or how I live my life, as long as like they just want to make sure I'm always good. Like I make sure I'm always like good, taken care of. Like they don't want me ever like in a position that would be not good for me. Like I understand that. But like they definitely were not probably stoked on the fact that I quit my job and was like, I'm gonna be a little bartender. Definitely not stoked about that. But like, I think that it's cool because I don't have another person. I don't have a kid. I don't have like major responsibilities that I could just do that and be like, let me just figure shit out while I do this. I'm like, I don't know. It's kind of cool. It's kind of fun. Like, I don't know. I think there's like something fun in that where like, if I had a boyfriend or husband or a kid, like I would have been like, well, I must stay at this miserable job and must keep doing this. And this is what life is. So whatever. Like, I don't know. I think that's kind of cool.
No, I completely agree. I think it's not to be like I'm in my like I feel like a lot of guys do this, but I feel like they do this for a long time. Like they're like 35 and they're still like, I'm just figuring shit out. But honestly, like there's no need to like force shit or do things that like aren't for yourself when you don't have anybody else that you owe anything to. Like, okay, you're doing this to save face because society tells you to. It's like, okay, who fucking cares? Like literally nobody cares. And also nobody is thinking about you as much as you think that they're thinking about you. So like even for like your parents, like of course they're thinking about you all the time, but also like As long as you're not fucking dead in a ditch and like you're not like a crack addict and like fucking homeless, they're not going to be that concerned about the decisions that you make if you're still able to maintain the life that makes you happy.
No, exactly.
You know,
no,
like
100%. But that's what they want.
Yeah,
but I'm sure they weren't excited that I was like, I got this college degree. I'm giving up this great job with great benefits to go be a little silly bartender.
Yeah. That's like my parents all the time. Like whenever we have like Christmas or Thanksgiving, and it's like all of the kids and we're all talking and, you know, we're all adults now. So it's just weird. And they talk about it all the time, but they're like, you know, we're like so lucky that none of you like became like these things that we hear about all the time where it's like, I don't know, like a criminal or like, you know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, it's like the worst thing that ever happened to you was X, Y, or Z. It's like you've lived a pretty good life.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, it's one of those things too. It's like, as long as you're doing what makes you happy and you're alive and at the end of the day, you can be satisfied with yourself. It's like, that's all that anybody ever wants for you.
Yeah.
And if they don't, then fuck them.
Yeah. Then they don't need to be in your life anyway. Yeah. Well, that was a crazy random roundabout of an episode, but here we are. We're at the end now. If you're still around for this crazy rant, I hope you feel good and like liberated about yourself and don't feel so like, I guess, harsh on yourself. Yeah. Because I feel like sometimes you need those reminders that like we're all on a silly little floating rock. Yeah. And actually, this is all an initiation to our cult. Yeah. So join. So join our cult today. Yeah. Become members of this society. Thank you guys for listening to another episode of Society 97. My name is Kelly K. You can find me at Kelly K on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And my name is Emily Starnes. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Starnesy. I'm going to start making YouTube videos soon. I'm figuring out what I want to do over there, but those are coming soon. So subscribe so I don't post a video and it gets no views, please. Thank you. And you can follow the podcast on Instagram as well. We're at society97.pod where you can DM us. Have you ever been in a cult or been approached by somebody who wants you to join their cult? Because I very much want to know. Also, you can follow us on TikTok. We're at society97pod, no dot, where we post clips from the show. And we have our YouTube channel, Society 97, where we do fun videos every single Tuesday and the video version of the podcast every single Friday. So like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, and go see our beautiful faces over there. We'll see you guys later. Okay, bye. Okay, bye.